How to never get angry or bothered by anyone. What if the person who hurt you the most no longer had any power over your peace whatsoever? Not because you stopped caring, not because you became cold or distant or emotionally armored in the way that passes for strength in a culture that confuses numbness with resilience, but because you developed something the Stoics spent centuries trying to give humanity. Something so precise, so practical, so genuinely transformative that the people who have truly built it describe it the same way every time. They describe it as freedom. The freedom of a person whose inner peace is no longer contingent on other people's behavior, whose emotional state is no longer a hostage to what someone else says, does, decides, or fails to do, whose morning is not ruined by a comment, whose day is not derailed by a driver, whose year is not stolen by a person who was never worth that much of their life in the first place. That freedom is real. It is not a personality type you either have or do not have. It is not a spiritual gift distributed unevenly among the emotionally gifted. It is a skill, a practice, a set of specific, learnable, daily applicable tools that the Stoics developed with extraordinary precision and that every human being who is serious about their own inner life can build. Today we are going to build it together. If you are new to this channel, welcome. We explore Stoic philosophy and human psychology at the deepest level and bring both directly into your real life. Subscribe right now and hit the bell notification. We release these videos regularly, and every single one is built for people who are serious about understanding themselves. Subscribe now. Let us begin. 1. Why anger is not what you think it is. Before we talk about how to stop being angry and bothered, we need to talk honestly about what anger actually is. Because the Stoics had an understanding of anger that is so different from the conventional view that without it, everything that follows will be useful but not transformative. The conventional view of anger is that it is a response. Something happens, someone does something, and anger is the natural, understandable, almost inevitable result. In this view, the person who made you angry is responsible for your anger. They did the thing. You felt the anger. Cause and effect. Simple. The Stoics looked at this view and said, no, that is not what is happening. And the difference between the conventional view and the Stoic view is not semantic. It is the difference between permanent emotional vulnerability and genuine inner freedom. The Stoic view, stated with characteristic precision by Epictetus, is this. It is not things that disturb us, but our judgments about thinking. Let me show you what this means in practice. Someone cuts you off in traffic. In the conventional view, they made you angry. In the Stoic view, something more complex and more interesting happened. The event occurred. A car moved into your lane. Your mind generated an impression. That person is disrespectful. That person endangered me. That person treated me as if I did not matter. And then, so quickly that it felt like one step rather than two, you assented to that impression. You accepted it as true and complete. And the anger arose from the assent, not from the event. The event itself, a car moving, is neutral. It carries no emotional charge on its own. The charge came from the judgment. From the story the mind built around the event in the fraction of a second between occurrence and reaction. And here is why this matters so much. If the anger comes from the event, you have no power over it. The world will always contain people who cut you off, who are unkind, who behave in ways you did not want them to behave. If every such event produces automatic anger, you are permanently vulnerable to the full range of human imperfection. And human imperfection is infinite. But if the anger comes from the judgment, from the story constructed in the gap between the event and your response, then you have power. Because the judgment is yours. The story is yours. And what is yours can be examined, can be questioned, can be changed. That is the Stoic foundation for everything that follows. Not the suppression of anger, not the performance of false calm. The genuine, philosophical, practically applicable understanding that between the event and your response there is a gap, and in that gap lives your freedom. 2. The Stoic understanding of other people. The second foundation for genuine freedom from anger is the Stoic understanding of other people. Specifically, the Stoic understanding of why people behave badly. Because how you interpret the bad behavior of others determines, more than almost anything else, what that behavior does to your inner state. Marcus Aurelius began every morning, and he wrote about this practice in the Meditations with striking consistency, with a specific preparation for encountering difficult people. He would remind himself that during the day he would meet people who were ungrateful, violent, treacherous, envious, and unsociable. And he would remind himself why. Not because they were evil, not because they had chosen badness as a deliberate orientation, but because they were ignorant, because they had not yet developed, through philosophical practice or through hard experience or through genuine reflection, the capacity to see clearly what genuinely mattered and how genuinely to treat other people. The Stoics called this ignorance, and they meant something precise by it. Not stupidity, not moral failure in the sense of deliberately choosing wrong, but the specific condition of a person who does not know, who genuinely cannot see, from inside their own distorted perception, what is actually true, what is actually good, and what their behavior is actually doing to the people around them. Think about the last person who genuinely angered you. Think about their behavior, whatever it was that produced the reaction in you. And now ask, with genuine honesty, is it possible that this person was operating from pain? From their own unexamined wounds? From a distorted perception of the situation that made their behavior feel, from the inside, justified or even necessary? Almost always the answer is yes. Not in every case. There are people who behave badly with clear eyes and full awareness. But they are the exception. The rule, across the full range of human difficult behavior, is that people act from their level of development, from their current capacity for self-awareness and genuine concern for others. And that capacity is always limited. In every human being, including you, including me. The Stoic response to this understanding is not the performance of sympathy for people who have hurt you. It is something more genuine and more useful. It is the withdrawal of the personal interpretation, the refusal to take their behavior as a deliberate, targeted attack on your specific worth, because in most cases, it is not. It is a person operating from their limitations, producing behavior that their limitations make almost inevitable. That does not make the behavior acceptable. The Stoics were not asking you to accept mistreatment without response, but it makes the behavior understandable. And understanding, in the Stoic framework, is the beginning of the end of anger's power over you. 3. The 5 Stoic practices for freedom from anger. Understanding the philosophy is the foundation. The practices are what build the actual freedom. And the Stoics left us 5 specific practices that, applied consistently in your daily life, genuinely transform your relationship with anger and with the people who used to be able to bother you. Practice 1. The one breath pause. The first practice is the simplest and the most immediately powerful, and it is the one that every other practice depends on because without it, the gap between stimulus and response never opens wide enough for anything else to happen. When you feel anger arising, the heat in the chest, the tightening of the jaw, the quickening of the breath, the sudden narrowing of perception to the person or thing that triggered it, you take one deliberate breath before you do anything else. One breath. That is the entire practice in its simplest form. Marcus Aurelius described this as the discipline of the first movement. The untrained mind goes directly from the impression to the reaction. The trained mind intercepts that journey. It inserts a moment, even a single breath worth of moment, in which the ruling faculty can engage before the automatic response takes over. One breath seems like nothing. It is everything, because in that one breath, the automatic nature of the anger is interrupted. The impression has not yet become the reaction. And in that gap, however small, the question becomes possible. Is this impression true? Is this interpretation accurate? Is this response the one I want to choose? Or is it simply the automatic one? You will not always get the answer right. The Stoics did not promise perfection, but the practice of the one-breath pause, done hundreds of times across months of daily life, builds the gap wider. The pause becomes longer. The automatic reaction loses its inevitability, and the space for genuine choice expands with every practice. Practice 2, the examination of the impression. The second practice builds directly on the first. Once the pause has created space, you use that space to examine the impression that is driving the anger. The Stoics called this the discipline of assent, the refusal to automatically accept an impression as true and complete before examining it. The examination consists of 3 questions. Fast ones, the kind you can run through in the seconds of the pause. The first question, what actually happened? Not the story about what happened, the bare fact. A person said a specific thing. A situation produced a specific outcome. Strip the event of every interpretation and look at what is actually, factually, verifiably there. The second question, what am I adding to what happened? What is the story my mind is building on top of the bare fact? They disrespected me. They do not value me. They are trying to undermine me. They always do this. These additions are not facts. They are interpretations. And interpretations can be examined and, if inaccurate, replaced. The third question, is there a more accurate interpretation available? One that accounts for the full complexity of the situation. One that considers the other person's possible inner state, their possible pressures, their possible limitations. One that does not automatically position your pain as their deliberate intention. This examination does not take long once you have practiced it, but it is genuinely transformative because it replaces the automatic story, the one that produces automatic anger, with a more accurate one. And a more accurate story almost always produces a less extreme emotional response. Practice 3, the practice of cosmic perspective. The third practice is the distinctly Stoic one that sounds philosophical until you actually use it in a real moment of anger. And then it reveals itself as one of the most practically useful tools available. It is the deliberate adoption of a perspective so large that the thing producing the anger is seen in its genuine proportion. When someone says something unkind and the anger begins to rise, the Stoic practice is to zoom out. Deliberately, dramatically, to the scale of your entire life first. Will this matter in 10 years? In 1 year? In 10 days? In most cases, the honest answer is no. The comment, the slight, the frustration, most of the things that produce the strongest anger in daily life are genuinely insignificant at the scale of even a few months. And then zoom out further, to the scale of history, of the universe. Marcus Aurelius did this explicitly in the Meditations. He would hold the current irritation against the full sweep of time. The civilizations that had risen and fallen, the billions of human beings who had lived and died, the vast cosmic scale against which any individual insult or frustration is genuinely, literally, infinitesimally small. This is not dismissal of genuine difficulty. This is the accurate proportioning of the event against reality. And the accurate proportion almost always reveals that the anger is responding to something that, at the genuine scale of your life and your values, and what actually matters, does not deserve the response it is receiving. This practice takes genuine development. The first time you try to adopt cosmic perspective in a moment of real anger, it will feel artificial. The anger is immediate, and the universe is abstract, and the immediacy wins. But practiced consistently, practiced in small moments of irritation before being needed in large moments of genuine anger, the capacity develops. The zoom out becomes faster, more natural, more genuinely available in the heat of the moment. And when it becomes available in the heat of the moment, what it produces is not coldness. It is the specific quality of calm that the Stoics described as equanimity, the genuine, grounded, philosophically built peace of a person who has seen the thing that is bothering them at its actual scale and found that scale genuinely manageable. Practice 4. The practice of voluntary sympathy. The fourth practice is the one that goes most directly against the emotional grain of the anger experience. And it is the one that produces the most lasting change in how other people's behavior affects you. It is the deliberate, practiced effort to understand the inner world of the person who angered you. Not to excuse them, not to accept mistreatment, but to genuinely, honestly, philosophically attempt to see the situation from inside their experience. Marcus Aurelius practiced this with extraordinary consistency. When someone behaved badly toward him, he would ask, "What is this person's history? What are their pressures? What wound? What fear? What distorted perception is producing this behavior? What does the world look like from inside their specific set of experiences and limitations?" This practice, which modern psychology calls empathy, and which the Stoics called the recognition of shared rational nature, does something to anger that nothing else can. It humanizes the person who triggered it, and the humanized person is genuinely harder to hate. This is not easy. In the genuine heat of anger, the last thing the emotional mind wants to do is understand the person who produced it. Understanding feels like surrender, like excusing what should not be excused. But genuine understanding is not excusing. The Stoics never confused the two. Understanding why someone behaved badly does not mean the behavior was acceptable. It means you have a more accurate picture of what actually happened. And a more accurate picture produces a more proportionate response. And a more proportionate response is better for you, for them, and for the situation, regardless of whether anyone else ever knows what practice produced it. Practice 5. The practice of the preferred indifferent. The fifth and final practice is the most philosophical and the most permanently transformative. It requires the deepest engagement with Stoic thought, and it produces the deepest freedom from anger that the Stoic framework makes available. It is the practice of reclassifying the things that anger you. The Stoics divided everything in human experience into two categories: things that are genuinely good, virtue, the proper use of reason, the development of character, and things that are preferred indifference, things that are generally better to have than not have, but that are not genuinely good in the deepest sense, not essential to genuine flourishing, not worth the disturbance of the inner life that pursuing or protecting them produces. Other people's opinions of you, preferred indifferent, generally better to be well regarded than not, but not worth your inner peace. Other people's behavior toward you, preferred indifferent, generally better to be treated well than not, but not within your control, and therefore not worth the anger that their failure to treat you as you deserve produces. The outcomes of your plans and your efforts, preferred indifferent, generally better when they work out, but dependent on variables you cannot govern, and therefore not worth the sustained anger when they do not. The reclassification practice works like this. When something produces anger, you ask, is this thing genuinely good? Is it virtue? Is it the development of my rational nature? Is it the genuine expression of my deepest values? Or is it a preferred indifferent, something I would prefer, but that is not essential to the genuine goodness of my inner life? In almost every case, the honest answer is preferred indifferent. The person treated you badly, preferred indifferent. The plan did not work, preferred indifferent. The recognition did not come, preferred indifferent. And the preferred indifferent does not deserve the disturbance of the ruling faculty, does not deserve the theft of your inner peace, does not deserve the days or weeks or years of anger that the conventional response would invest in it. This practice does not happen overnight. Reclassifying things that feel deeply important as preferred indifference requires genuine philosophical work. The honest examination of what you actually value at the deepest level. The genuine assessment of what is essential to the good life and what is merely preferable. But done consistently, practiced through the small angers first, built into a habit before being needed for the large ones. It produces the freedom that the Stoics described as the highest achievement available to a human being. The freedom of the person for whom the world's behavior, including the worst of it, does not have the power to steal the peace that genuine philosophical practice has built. 4. What freedom from anger actually feels like. I want to close the main content of this video by describing what the Stoic freedom from anger actually feels like when it is genuinely built. Because I think it is often described in ways that make it sound cold or distant or somehow less than the full engagement with life that most people want. And it is none of those things. It does not feel like not caring. The person who has built genuine Stoic equanimity cares deeply about their values, about the people they love, about the work that matters to them, about justice and truth and the quality of human life around them. If anything, the freedom from reactive anger makes caring more available, not less. Because the energy that was previously consumed by anger is now available for genuine engagement. It does not feel like weakness. The conventional mind confuses absence of anger with absence of strength. The Stoics understood the opposite. The person who can be provoked at will, whose peace is available for anyone to disturb with a comment or a slight, is the weaker one. The person whose peace is genuinely their own, genuinely stable, genuinely not contingent on other people's behavior. That person is operating from a position of genuine strength. It feels like space, like having room inside yourself that used to be occupied by the noise of other people's behavior, and that is now genuinely yours. Room for your own thinking, your own values, your own genuine response to the world rather than the automatic reactive one. It feels like the specific quality of morning that arrives when you realize you woke up and immediately went to your own thoughts rather than to the residue of yesterday's anger. When the person who bothered you does not have first access to your consciousness anymore. When your peace is the first thing present and it belongs to you. And it feels like the deepest possible expression of the Stoic principle that Marcus Aurelius returned to again and again across the entirety of the Meditations. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Not the strength of someone who is never challenged. The strength of someone who is challenged and remains themselves. Who is provoked and remains grounded. Who is treated badly and responds from their own values rather than from the injury. That strength is available to you. It has always been available. The Stoics just left you the map. What if the person who hurt you the most no longer had any power over your peace whatsoever? That is not a rhetorical question. It is a genuine possibility, available to every person who is willing to do the philosophical work that genuine freedom from anger requires. The one-breath pause, the examination of the impression, the cosmic perspective, the voluntary sympathy, the practice of the preferred indifferent. 5 practices, all of them learnable, all of them buildable, all of them pointing toward the same destination. The inner life that belongs entirely to you, that no one's behavior can take, that no comment can destroy, that no slight can steal, because it has been built from the inside. From genuine practice, genuine self-knowledge, genuine philosophical engagement with the most important question available to a human being. Who is governing my inner life? Me or the behavior of everyone around me? The answer, after consistent Stoic practice, is you. Always you. Finally you. If this video gave you something real, something that shifted the way you understand your own anger, and what is actually possible on the other side of it, please share it. With someone who needs it. With someone who has been handing their peace to other people for too long. Leave a comment below telling me which of the 5 practices you are going to start with and what freedom from anger would mean for your specific life. I read every single comment, and I genuinely mean that. Subscribe to this channel right now if you have not already. Hit the bell notification. We release deep Stoic content regularly, and every video is built for people who are serious about the examined life. 3 seconds. Subscribe now. Your peace is yours. No one else's behavior gets to determine it. Not anymore. Thank you for being here. Take care of your minds. See you in our next video.